Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, something weird has happened. Firstly, look at this Charizard. Secondly, something weird has happened. We've had an article posted by the lovely folks at the Pokémon Company over on the official US website that shows cards that haven't been revealed in Japan. That never happens. Like, look at this Charizard. They're not all brand new, okay? But look at this Charizard. I think I made my point about this Charizard. Let's start with a Charizard, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Because this looks awesome. Now, Charizard EX, a Tera Darkness Charizard, isn't actually a new card per se, because of course we've had this revealed in Japan. When Japan did their initial reveal of Scarlet and Violet 3, for them it's called Ruler of the Black Flame, for us it's called Obsidian Flames, we saw this Charizard. This was revealed, and we saw it, and we had a chat about it, and it was lovely. We didn't see this version of it. Now, to be fair, we didn't know this version was coming. Like, we didn't know exactly what it looked like, we hadn't seen it, blah, 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 but we knew this version was coming, and we knew this version was coming because, of course, we always get one of these. Like, this is standard. No, wait, this is the part where I interrupt myself from the future. This is not standard. Now, in my excitement, I looked at this and I thought that it was just a full art. It's not a full art. Of course it's not a full art. Firstly, look at the amazing artwork. I'll rant more about that, how great it is in a minute. But secondly, look at the rarity symbol. This isn't a full art Tera EX. This is, for the very first time, a special illustration rare Tera EX. And look, it's Charizard, right? We all knew Charizard was going to break the mold. We all knew the first special illustration rare Tera EX was going to be Charizard. It had to be. Pokemon were not going to let that opportunity slide, nor should they. But oh my word, ladies and gentlemen, I love this, I adore this, but I did have to pop in from the future just for a minute here to let you guys know that I have realised, no, it's not a full art, it is a special illustration rare, which does mean we should get a regular full art as well, in the same vein as we do for all the Tera EXs, but just to be clear, this is a special illustration rare, and the fact that we have one of these for a Tera EX is a legitimately big deal. But the fact that this has been revealed in English, officially, by Pokemon on the website, before it's been shown off in Japan, I need to stress to you what a big deal this is. This doesn't happen. Generally speaking, reveals originate from Japan. That is the way it always happens. Is this a one-off? Is this a sea change? I don't know is the honest answer. But the fact that this has been shown off in English first, that's a big deal. Also, we're going to be looking at some brand new cards we've never looked at in a second. Not having to do translations? That's weird, ladies and gentlemen. I just got good at translations. Don't ruin it now. Now, if we actually talk about the Charizard for a minute, I want this. I want this badly. This is, by a wide margin, the best looking full art Tera EX we've seen so far. And the reason the Charizard looks a billion times better than the others, Akira Gawa. All the others so far have been done by 5-band graphics, except for the one exception was the Dedenne, which was done by Oki CG Works. They had all basically been computer-generated ones before. This is not. This is a proper Akira Gawa card, and goodness me, this is beautiful. Now remember, they've been doing amazing work in the One Piece card game lately, and I've been saying, like, they're a very good artist in the Pokemon TCG. I've been saying they are the best artist in the One Piece card game because the style of Agawa just lends more to One Piece than it does to Pokemon. And I'll tell you now, ladies and gentlemen, this might be the best card they've done for the Pokemon trading card game. It's just a thing of absolute beauty. If you want some other cards you might have seen recently, the special art rare or special illustration rare of Chi-Yu, the illustration rare of Dondozo, And then, of course, we had all of those gold cards like Arceus over in Crown Zenith. They were all Akira Igawa, and I think we can all agree they are absolutely proper job, over the top stunning. As for what the card actually does, it is a decent card, don't get me wrong. This is a pretty cool card. Because you've got, the ability Infernal Rain. When you evolve during your turn, you can search your deck for 3 basic fire and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. That is a great ability. And then Burning Darkness does 130 plus 30 more for each prize card your opponent's taken. If they've taken 5 prizes, you're doing 330, and that is enough to KO almost anything in the game. It's going to be 10 away from the biggest Pokemon we've seen. Don't forget, of course, that Magma Basin is a thing. And sure, Charizard is a darkness type, but the Charmander and Charmeleon won't be. They'll be fire, so you absolutely can just use that before you evolve up. Literally use it and then immediately evolve up, and you're good to go. It's a cool card, but they've finally given us a Tera EX that's not just from one of the CG studios, but oh my word, I'm in love with this card. This is going to be one I am definitely tracking down in English, because I'll be able to afford that. Ain't no way I'm going to be able to afford this one. Want to see another secret rare that's not been shown off in Japan? Rhyme. And what's really weird here, we've not seen the regular Rhyme card. We've now got the full art Rhyme, not seen the regular version. Don't know what it looks like. I'm not going to wax rages about this card, it's fine. But the effect here, draw 3 cards, switch your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. Now, this is not a replacement for Boss's Orders, and the reason it's not a replacement for Boss's Orders is because your opponent has basically the choice of who comes active. You pop them to the bench. It's like a escape rope in that regard. That doesn't make it a bad thing, but it also means that it's not, it's not as good as it could be. But you're also drawing 3 cards while making them switch. I don't think it's going to be some absolutely phenomenal, over-the-top, ridiculous, broken card that everybody's going to love and play. I don't think it's that good. But I absolutely do think that it is a good card, which is going to see some play here and there. I think it's cool, but the fact that your opponent chooses who comes active is a pretty big deal. But again, it's also weird and huge that we get the full art version of Rhyme before even the regular version has been revealed in Japan. As always, if I'm being a big dumb dummy and the regular version of Rhyme has been revealed in Japan, please do let me know. But I'm following this stuff pretty closely, and I don't have Rhyme saved on my computer, and I feel like I would have if it had been revealed. What's that? Not enough new stuff for you? How about Glimmora EX? One that I really, really, really like. Now, this is a brand new EX, and again, not seen this in Japan, as far as I am aware. Now, again, if I'm being a big dumb dummy, please do let me know. But as far as I am aware, we've not seen any of this. We've not seen Glimmora EX at all. Also, fun little side note, remember we do have the one from Paldea Evolved, that if it's knocked out, flip a coin. If your opponent doesn't get a prize card, it's kind of funny. So you can play these two together, and that's lovely. But let's focus on the EX for a moment. Because the EX has a very, 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 very good ability. What it does is, as long as it's active, your opponent cannot have more than 3 bench Pokemon. If they've got 4 or more, they discard until they've got 3. If more than one effect changes the number of bench Pokemon allowed, use the smaller number. Obviously here they are anticipating people going, well, hang on a second, what if we've got Collapse Stadium and Glimmora? Well, Collapse Stadium says you can only have 4, Glimmora says you can only have 3. That is the one that takes precedence, you can only have 3. And here's the thing, right? Because this only works if it's active. So what you would want to do is use something that puts your opponent's active to the bench, like Escape Rope, or indeed the aforementioned Rhyme. The problem is, then Glimmora comes active again and you just go back down to 3 bench spaces. So, essentially here, even if you get your bench spaces back, you kind of have to get them back for a minute But then make sure that you've got a couple Pokemon you don't mind discarding. Now, of course, the real play here is you use boss's orders first. So sure, you're putting your opponent down to, 3 bench spaces, but here's the kicker. Let's say they've played Lumineon. Lumineon, good example here, because what Lumineon does is it lets you go and search for a supporter, sees a fair amount of play. Not as much as equivalent cards have in the past, but it still sees a fair amount of play. But once it's been played, it kind of does nothing. Or Squawkabilly. Same kind of thing, it's put down there turn 1 for the ability, but then as soon as you've used the ability, it basically just becomes a bench-sitting liability. Well, you use boss's orders to drag one of those bench-sitting liabilities active, then you evolve up into Glimmora, and let's face it, Squawkabilly or Lumineon, they were going to be the first choice. They were going to be the first one to be discarded. Oh, and then I'll worry about the rest later. Well, there is no worrying about it later. Make a decision now. And I love it, ladies and gentlemen. I adore it. Because it means that they essentially go down to 2 bench spaces, because 1 bench space was going to be the Lumineon they got rid of. Now they've kind of stuck with that, and that's how I think you get the maximum value out of this. Drag something in the active that they would have chosen to get rid of, then evolve up into Glimmora, and then just sit there like chuckling to yourself, because you are going to have put your opponent in a really, really, really awkward situation, and that's fantastic. But we do need an attack to use here as well. We've got Poisonous Gem, 2 energy, 140 plus poison. It's fine. It's not particularly good, it's fine. But the whole point of Glimmora here is you're annoying your opponent, then this hits the active, and then your opponent's in trouble. Bearing in mind, against something like a Lugia that needs 2 bench spaces for Archeops, you can put them in a really, really awkward situation here, because a lot of the time they cannot afford to run their deck on 3 bench spaces. But you're kind of putting them in that position. Then you make sure that they're slowed down, and then you use this. And to be fair, this is going to work nicely with Ting Lu. Ting Lu's a very similar kind of thing, because of course that is turning off abilities when it's active, and we've just got a bunch of fighting decks what are going to be super annoying when they're active, and then of course you can always use Koraidon to get the energy on there in the early game if you so wish. And it ends your turn, but remember, you're going to want Glimmora in the active or Ting Lu in the active, so it really doesn't matter if you end your turn kind of turn 1 to get the energy out. That's going to be fine. I am liking this a lot. I'm giving this 4 Wassies. I legitimately love this card. I don't think the attack is great, but I think the ability allows you to set up a situation where the attack doesn't need to be great. And that's kind of awesome. I suppose I should mention they showed off Morile. Look, Morile is the alternate art of the pre-release promo we saw ages ago. Decide which artwork you like best. We've talked about this card enough. But they also revealed Sizzle, and of everything we've seen from Obsidian Flames so far, Sizzle's my favourite. I love this card. When I go to Japan for Worlds in a couple of weeks, I'm hoping that I will be able to get to take part in a couple of locals. This will be out when I land in Japan. It comes out the day before I land. And in Japan, you don't have to wait for cards to become legal. They're legal immediately. And the point of this long anecdote is, I'm going to play Sizzle. If I can compete in some Japanese locals, which is absolutely my plan, I'm building around this card. Single energy, 10 damage, plus 50 more for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play that has an ability. Look at the decks around at the moment. I mean, firstly, against Chen Pao decks, which are very good right now, they kind of have to have 2 cards out with abilities, Chen Pao and Baxcalibur, and then if they've got 2 Pokemon out with abilities, you get a 1-hit KO on Chen Pao. It's kind of hilarious. But then there's so many other decks. Like, Gardevoir's a great deck right now. Like, every Gardevoir deck has to pay... Basically, every Pokemon they get out has an ability. It's not weak, unfortunately. It could be if it was Fairy, but it's not. It's a bit sad. Point is, this is a really, really good card right now. Pair it with some other stage 1s. Sit there and chuckle. I am in love with Sizzle, and I kind of knew it was going to be in the set anyway, because you can... But because we're only taking from one Japanese set, you can basically assume everything from the set's in. So we kind of knew it was going to be in the set, but I'm going to be honest with you, this was just a really good opportunity for me to tell you again how much I love this card. I am absolutely in love with it. Right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Charizard is clearly the big story here. But don't just look at the Charizard. As I told you earlier in the video, the fact that the Full Art Tera EX here is done by a non-CG artist, that is a huge change and one that I am all for. So yeah, I'm excited. You should be excited. Tell me how excited you are in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. Oh, and of course get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Star of Dav, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.